So let's go over some strategies where if you live in a country where they implement a CBDC, central bank digital currency, or a digital ID, social credit system, how you're going to function, how you can continue doing what you had before without much problem, to make sure government is mostly irrelevant to you. So one of the things you will need is an offshore bank account in at least one other country than where you live, ideally multiple. Nowadays, pretty much all or most countries, they are part of common reporting standards. So it's not really a way to hide money for tax purposes. But it still doesn't mean that it mostly, sometimes they send actively information about you, but in most cases it's not like that. It's in most cases it's just that they have to comply with requests, so you cannot use it to hide, to dodge taxes. But you have much more privacy because they usually don't report actively on you, and even if they do, your government really doesn't, in the country where you live or where you are a citizen, doesn't really have any control over that bank account. They cannot freeze it, they cannot, and like the kind of regulations that it complies to is that other country. So if you have multiple accounts like this, you have a lot of flexibility and a lot of freedom. Because sometimes regulations change quickly, and then maybe it's unreasonable for you in one country. Maybe it's the country where you choose to live, but then the country where you have bank account, it's not really effective, and you have a debit card from that. You can still use it in your country, so no problem. And if your country implements some digital IDs, some kind of social credit system, they can't really even if you're part of the system, it can't really affect your bank account and your ability to transact because it's from another country. Another thing that's important is if you have a business or if you're a freelancer, which, by the way, you should not be an employee. You can do the same job for the same people, but do it as a freelancer. Sometimes that has tax advantages. Sometimes you have to be careful about how you structure it so that it stays legal. But usually it's possible. And then you can do it via this way. Then if your country implements some restrictions about relating to employment, it doesn't affect you. Now, maybe they make some rules about businesses. Again, your business can be registered in another country. So then you can use that registration to invoice the client. And, so it's kind of like, on one hand, a lot of things are happening very quickly now, but what you see is also that nowadays it's easier than ever to kind of stay in the system, be able to use it to full effect without kind of living in a cave or completely off the grid, but set it up globally such that it doesn't really affect you. You have choices, and that's something that was never really possible before. Maybe, or you would have to be really extravagant and very rich to be able to do that in the past. Now it's available to everyone or almost everyone. So it's a mindset that you need to have. And then these kind of strategies start to become very clear. Another point is, where do you get your food? Maybe you grow it yourself. Maybe you have close connections with your neighbors who grow some, maybe with directly from local farmers, so you're not dependent on supermarkets. Another point is if you have a kind of connection with them like this, then maybe you can pay them in Bitcoin or silver coins or gold. You can barter, you can exchange services. So again, you are not dependent on the system. So you have to think in this way, and then a lot of kind of strategies come up. So the kind of strategies that we work with is, we help people understand if they want to move somewhere else, where they should go, how to set up their life, or if they say, okay, I cannot move because whatever reason, or they don't want to move, that's fine. Then we can set things up for you in such a way that you can stay in your country, but it affects you as little as possible. So, for example, we open an offshore bank account for you. We help you register a business that you can use to invoice your clients offshore. We can help you get residency permit in another country that maybe you're not going to use because you're staying in your country, but you feel like you have another place to go if you need to. And that sometimes can help you, to get a second address. It can help you to have like a reason and justification to travel if there are restrictions. So it gives you again a lot of options and freedom. It's about creating options. The same is, like if people get into crypto and into Bitcoin and into gold, it can be an investment for some people, but here we think about it in terms of that it's a tool to help you transact, to help you not rely on third parties like banks and governments.